Okay. Hello, our group is made up of Lorraine Rojas, Jefferson Calpa, Esteban Silva, Liceto Seches, Julio Gonzalez, and whoever speaks to you, Christian David Carr. And today we will talk a little about our blog base in Mexico City. In this, you will find different factors such as feature visualization, economic, social, environmental, and emotional, as well as session dedicated to art, monuments, or important landmark in the country and how technology is and what benefit it brings to Mexico. Why did we choose Mexico? Sing and Don't Cry. The famous song Cielito Lindo is one of the songs that represent Mexican culture and all its essence. And it is that Mexico is a place where mariachis, color, chilling, and tequila reign. And in short, the tradition of Mexico know how to make each moment something special and bring joy in their wake. The indigenous cultures that inhabit this country caught our attention because it has one of the best beaches. It is very rich in gastronomy and its culture. This may be a general reason why they chose that country. How Mexico is viewed in the year 2050. In this session, you can think how the country of Mexico is forecast for the year 2015 in his country. Population and climate areas. The greatness of a country that is determined to be powerful is how Mexico is defined for future years. All the necessary factors such as its natural wealth and ancestral culture will be put into play in order to become one of the strongest and most powerful in the world. This will be Mexico in the near future. The population in this country is defined or known for being determined and warlike. And this is a country that has a large population which places it as the second most populous country in Latin America. In the year 2015, its population will increase and will represent 12.5% of it, thanks to the decision that the country have made regarding its resources such as oil and natural resources. His population will not be affected by the lack of employment and stability. Economic renewable energy will represent 100% for his economy in the country. All these measures are what will lead the population of Mexico in the country to be in seventh place as the most powerful economic power in the world and the second in Latin America. Regarding the climate, it is forecast that it will increase in the next 29 years, with is causing that due to the later highs that will remain at the poles, many beaches in Mexico will be flooded. The country is really suffering the impact of climate change. This is all of session.
Okay, social factors. In this section about the social factors, we address some issues. In particular, I'm going to talk about daily life and social customs, class divisions, family and gender issues, and education. Okay, in daily life in Mexico, various dramatically according to socioeconomic level, gender, ethnicity, and racial perceptions, regional characteristics, rural versus urban difference, and other social and cultural factors. About class divisions, Mexican society is sharply divided by income and education level, although a middle class has strongly to expand in the series. The principal division is between the wealthy, well-educated elite and the urban and rural poor, who constitute the vast majority in the population. About family and gender issues, um, family remains the most important element of Mexican society, both in private and public life. And individuals' status and opportunities are strongly influenced by family ties from infancy to old age. Many households in both rural and urban areas are inhabited by three or more generations because of the economic advantage or necessity. Is sharing a roof as well as traditional close relationships. And finally, about education, Mexico has made significant efforts to improve educational opportunities for its people. School attendance is required for children aged 6 to 18, and since 204, preschool has been mandatory as well. In addition to increasing the number of schools for children, adult literacy programs have been promoted vigorously since the 1970s. Okay.
Other social factors are religion, ethnic groups, and the government. About religion, in Mexico, the predominant religion is Catholicism, since approximately 83% of the population practice Catholicism. However, there are other religions in the country, such as Protestantism, Islam, and Judaism. Um, Reading its ideals, it can be said that religion does not have generalized ideals in Mexico, since although the church has spoken out against abortion, the majority of the Mexican faithful are in favor. However, only 36% approve of gay marriage. About ethnic groups, in Mexico, there are 16,933,283 indigenous people, representing 15.1% of the total population. Mexico has adopted the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples. It's a multicultural nation since 1992. According to the Mexican Cultural Information System, there are 70 ethnic groups throughout the country, of which 27 are located in Chiapas and Oaxaca. In Mexico, due to its cultural diversity, more than 68 native languages are spoken, which are organized to 11 linguistic families and are derived in 364 dialect variants. And finally, about government, the laws of Mexico are in the Magna Carta, drawn up in 1917, and it was the first in the world to include social rights. In Mexico, the type of government is the republic. In a republic, there is a supreme power that is divided to three powers: legislative, executive, and judicial. The representative of the executive power is the president of the republic, who has the greatest power in the decisions making. Additionally, the Mexican government meets three characteristics. It is democratic. Um, this means that all Mexicans elect their leaders. It is representative. This means the people elect representatives who exercise authority, and it is federal. This means that it is made up of 31 free states. Each state is autonomous and independent.
Present the economy of Mexico. Mexico economy is based on the export-oriented free market. It is the first economy in Latin America, the second in America, and the third largest economy in all of America, only after the United States and Brazil. According to data from 2014, the gross domestic product exceeds the $1 trillion, making the American economy the 13th largest in the world, and the number 13 by GDP, with the corporation mandates, and the fifth each have great better to grace to the sovereign debt of Mexico. The speed is macroeconomic stability that has lower inflation, the interest rates to historic lows, and increases per capita income. There are a large gap between rich and poor, north and southern states, and between the ardent population and the rural. Some of the challenges for Mexico are moderating the tax system and labor rights, as well as reducing income inequality. The economic contagion amidst modern and aged farming systems and industries, both increasingly dominated by the private sector. Recent developments have expanded competition in the seasport, telecommunication, electricity generation, and natural gas distribution to modernize infrastructure.
The emotional factors. The emotional part in the country of Mexico is most related to the cultural diversity that occurs there. In general, they are happy, support people even having national problems such as poverty or employment. The culture of Mexicans represent an endless number of emotions. They have culture that celebrates life and death in the only one died, in died of death. They are whole, they are they are held two days a year, on November 1 and November 2. They are linked to the Catholic celebrate of the died in the faithful death and of all the saints. These days, they will place an offering for the deceased loved ones, beards, flowers, and relieved souls. They are them in the pyramids of the archaeological zone of Milta, place of death in Nathul of the pre-Hispanic Zapotec Mixtec cultures. They adorn the bread of the dead baked in the Bacaria of Milta, about 16 kilometers from Oaxaca. Oaxaca was founded be in the detachment of Azteca soldiers, the Aizotl. The city of Oaxaca is raised at the foot of the Sierra Madre, on the square in the Fortin Hill and extends to the banks of the Atoyac River. Oaxaca is representative of the emotion that Mexican culture represents.
Okay, I will talk about environmental factors. Okay, in Mexico, different scientific communities, indigenous communities, and NGOs have long been warning about deforestation, loss of biodiversity, pollution of rivers and seas, and the invasion of megaprojects with catastrophic consequences for the territories. The ambient alert lights have been on for a long time. It is necessary for Mexico to understand the importance of the environmental agenda in its list of budgetary priorities, since economic neglect has increased year by year, which minimizes the capacity for action of environmental authorities in terms of inspection, action, and surveillance. The pandemic has reminded us of the importance we must give to the environmental. In Mexico, the budget for the environmental sector for 2021 is close to being half of what it was 5 years ago, a time when it was not an investment either. Exceptional for 2016 was 27.144 million were allocated, while in 2021 only 15.64 million were allocated. For Dr. Leticia Merino, a professor at UNAM, the budgetary disdain in the environmental sector shows the misunderstanding that exists in the government towards the importance of the environmental issue. Since environmental problems must be addressed as social problems that affects the most vulnerable. They are problems that harm public health and destroy ways of life. Ezequiel Escurra, professor at California Riverside, believes that the country has to show a serious commitment to protect natural areas and the conservation of Mexico's biodiversity, a question that he has not done despite being part of the Paris Agreement of 2015, in which, together with other countries, they committed to taking action to combat climate change. But today, 91% of their energy styles comes from hydrocarbons, something that does not seem to change since the country has built a new refinery and plans to modernize coal-fired power plants.
Okay, art in Mexico. This session talks about how art is perceived in Mexico. This is one of the countries that has a great cultural diversity. Art in this country is perceived in the streets, building, and gastronomy. In this country, art is very important, which is reflected in its variety of institutions dedicated to art. An example of this is the Palace of Fine Art, which is the main artistic institution in Mexico City. In its various cultural presentation of both ballet and opera and classical music. There is also the Frida Kahlo Museum in Coyoacán in homage to the great Mexican artist Frida. There you will find various of her work. The indigenous people in this country have great importance in art that link it in society has something as important as religion. The great churches and buildings that we see in Mexico were built with a mixture of European knowledge and the no indigenous. Many painters, writers, musicians, actors, filmmakers have left a great legacy and have put the name of the country very high, such as the work of Frida Kahlo, Diego Rivera, Siqueiros, Tamayo, Octavio Paz, Carlos Fuentes, and Juan Rulfo, among others. Art throughout the history of Mexico has been a very important factor in projecting an identity as a nation. It has become a vehicle for the transmission of ideas and expression of emotion. Mexico is a meeting place, constant creation that comes from the vigor and essence of through and art that shape the face in which everyone is reflected. Here you will, here you will find some examples of work by Mexican artists, such as Diego Rivera Dance in Tehuantepec, 1928, Oil on Canvas, Gerardo Murillo's view of the Popocatépetl, 1934, Frida Kahlo, Fulan Chang and I, 1937, The Monument to the Revolution. You can also view some representation of Mexican work of art, such as the portrait of Judith Compton was painted in Acapulco in 1956 by Diego Rivera during the last month of his life by Christian David Carpio. View of the Popocatépetl, 1934, my representation by Esteban Silva. The Monument to the Revolution representation by Lorraine Rojas, and representation of the Virgin of Guadalupe by Jefferson Calpa Ayala, where each video seek to try to represent and express the idea of art in Mexico and its variety. This is all of session.
In this section about landmarks and also monuments, I'm going to talk about that. The rich Mexican culture has empowered UNESCO to name at least 30 Mexican landmarks as World Heritage Sites. There are 27 cultural sites, 6 natural sites, and 2 mixed sites geography with the architecture mixed in. According to UNESCO, scores of ancient civilizations such as the Aztec, Inca, Mayan, Olmec, and Zapotec have contributed to the modern ways of traditional Mexican life. According to archaeologists, there have been ancient stone tools found at various famous landmarks in Mexico that suggest human existence for at least 23,000 of years. These famous landmarks in Mexico are definitely worth a visit, probably your next trip to Mexico. In our page, we show the monument El Angel of Independence. We have information and a podcast, Monument El Angel by Christian David Carpio Cruzado. We have also Monument to the Mexican Revolution and some information, and a podcast, Monument Revolution by Jefferson Calpa Ayala, and the last um, the last landmark is the Lighthouse of Commerce. Some information and also a podcast, Lighthouse of Commerce by Lorraine Beslady Rojas. That's all for this section.
Okay. In this section, we have information about Mexican Olympiad of Informatics and Google Collaborative. Additionally, we have an infographic and a video about the explanation of how the Cocoa Process Simulator works. So we invite you to read this page with important information about Mexico, technology in Mexico.